As mainstream media will never show you how dodgy Pfizer is, I took it upon myself to show you instead. There are things from fraud to killing children due to their sloppiness, underhand dealings. It's really important, if any of you are thinking about having this Pfizer vaccine, just to know a little bit even about their background. And if you still want it after knowing all of what I'm about to show you, you're either very brave or very silly. This article from 2009 is about the largest healthcare fraud settlement in its history. Pfizer had to pay $2.3 billion for fraudulent marking. It's about a drug called Bextra. It's an anti-inflammatory drug that Pfizer pulled from the market in 2005. Under the provisions of the Food, Drug and Cosmetic Act, a company must specify the intended use of a product in its new drug application to the FDA. Once approved, the drug may not be marketed or promoted for so-called off-label uses, i.e. any use not specified in the application and approved by the FDA. Pfizer promoted the sale of Bextra for several uses and dosages that the FDA specifically declined to approve due to safety concerns. The company will pay a criminal fine of $1.195 billion, the largest criminal fine ever imposed in the United States for any matter. Pharmacia, I think that's how you say it, and Upjohn will also forfeit $105 million for a total criminal resolution of $1.3 billion. In addition, Pfizer has agreed to pay $1 billion to resolve allegations under the Civil False Claims Act that the company illegally promoted 4 drugs: Bextra, Gedon, an antipsychotic drug, Zyvox, an antibiotic, and Lyrica, an anti-epileptic drug, and caused false claims to be submitted to government healthcare programs for uses that were not medically accepted indications and therefore not covered by those programs. The civil settlement also resolves allegations that Pfizer paid kickbacks to healthcare providers to induce them to prescribe these, as well as other drugs. The federal share of the civil settlement is $668,514,830, and the state Medicaid share of the civil settlement is $331.5 million. This is the largest civil fraud settlement in history against a pharmaceutical company. As part of the settlement, Pfizer has also agreed to enter into an expansive cooperative integrity agreement with the Office of Inspector General of the Department of Health and Human Services. That agreement provides for procedures and reviews to be put in place to avoid and promptly detect conduct similar to that which gave rise to this matter. The next one is regarding a drug called Zoloft. It's an antidepressant, and I'll read you the small bit out. Since Zoloft was approved in 1991, hundreds of people have sued Pfizer, claiming the drug was dangerous to unborn children, or that it didn't work as claimed to treat depression. Across the board, Pfizer has won court battles, persuading judges and juries to side with the drug maker against injured parties. At one point, there were more than 700 federal lawsuits consolidated in the federal courts. Over the course of 5 years, they were all dismissed or withdrawn. There's another bit to this as well. It says the state courts favour Pfizer. April 2015. A St. Louis jury sided with Pfizer in April 2015 in the case of a California boy who suffered birth defects after his mother took Zoloft while pregnant. The trial was the first in the country where the issue was litigated. According to the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, jurors concluded that warnings on the drug were sufficient. June 2015. A jury in New York ruled that Pfizer was not responsible for the birth defects of a young girl whose mother took Zoloft while pregnant. August 30th, 2016, West Virginia this time. The judge ruled that state law barred a lawsuit alleging Zoloft caused birth defects to a child born to a mother who took the drug while pregnant. February the 15th, 2017, a judge in West Virginia dismissed 2 cases against Pfizer, ruling that the injured parties had not proved Zoloft was the cause or that the drug maker withheld information from the FDA. According to that opinion, the undisputed evidence presented by the defendants showed that the FDA and the scientific community have evaluated the safety of Zoloft for decades, and that Zoloft has never been recalled, remains approved by the FDA as safe and effective, and thousands of physicians each year continue to prescribe it to bring needed relief to their patients who suffer from depression, anxiety disorders and other conditions. Lipitor is a cholesterol-lowering drug, a statin. It was originally developed by Warner Lambert, but it partnered with Pfizer to assist in the funding of late-stage tests and clinical trials so it could get approved by the FDA, which happened in 1997. In 2013, there were 56 lawsuits filed against Pfizer with plaintiffs alleging that they had developed diabetes after taking the medication. In 2014, most Lipitor diabetes claims were being consolidated into multi-district litigation in front of one judge in the South District of South Carolina. By 2015, a federal judge set the first trial date to hear the initial MDL case. However, the following year, the federal judge granted a motion filed by Pfizer to exclude expert testimony presented by the plaintiffs. Today, many Lipitor diabetes lawsuits are heard in front of the US Court of Appeals in the Fourth Circuit, where the plaintiffs hope to see a successful resolution to their cases. Another one was in 2009. I might as well read you the article, it's quite short. It says, a Philadelphia jury ordered Pfizer to pay $28 million in punitive damages and $6.3 million in compensatory damages to a breast cancer survivor who used a trio of the company's hormone replacement therapy. The jury decided that the drugs conjugated estrogen, Premarin, conjugated equine estrogen and progestin, Prempro, and medroxyprogesterone, Provera, contributed to plaintiff Donna Kendall's cancer, and that the drug company failed to adequately warn consumers about the risks associated with the drugs. In 2013, Pfizer had to pay $55 million over their drug Protonix because they failed to warn over the risks of kidney problems. The next one is Eliquis. It's a blood-thinning drug, and the lawsuits to this day are still going on. It says, lawsuits claim that clinical trials used to support Eliquis approval were fraudulent, and that this fraud led to patients using a harmful drug that should not have been on the market in the first place. The FDA delayed approval of Eliquis for 9 months over misconduct, errors, and an alleged cover-up at a clinical trial site in China. The FDA said that the mistakes demonstrated a pattern of inadequate trial conduct and oversight. If we go and look at this part of it, same article, it says more than 130 lawsuits have been filed against Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer over alleged injuries and deaths caused by Eliquis. Plaintiffs in Eliquis lawsuits make a number of accusations against the drug makers, including the following. The list is quite long. Not proving adequate warnings about Eliquis's lack of bleeding reversal agent, overstating the safety of Eliquis while downplaying its risks, failing to conduct complete and proper testing of Eliquis, bringing to market a drug with unreasonable, dangerous side effects, breaching a drug maker's duty to bring to market reasonably safe products, negligently advertising and recommending Eliquis without sufficient knowledge of its dangers, concealing product safety information from the public, prioritizing profits over patient safety, committing fraud during Eliquis testing, causing patient injuries and deaths as a result of these acts and omissions. In 2013, Pfizer had to settle to the tune of $288 million. That's 2,700 state and federal lawsuits regarding the drug Chantix, which is a drug to help you stop smoking. The side effects were bad. They caused suicide, suicidal thoughts and other mental disturbances. In 2015, Pfizer was one of the companies who managed to dodge charges over a testosterone drug called depot-testosterone and Testopel. This was a drug that was designed to treat hypogonadism. It's low testosterone in men. I think women can take it as well. But firstly, the drug didn't have any effect on the condition it was prescribed for, and secondly, it caused serious cardiovascular problems in the people who took it. In October just gone, October 2020, this was a lawsuit against Pfizer and BioNTech, and as far as I can see, this is the most recent one I can find. It's also against Regeneron as well. This is an alleged patent infringement concerning the M-neon green dye, which has been used in the BNT162 and the REGN-CoV Regeneron COVID vaccines. The company suing is Allele, A-L-L-E-L-E, and they're seeking damages that amount to no less than a reasonable royalty, and it wasn't known how much they were seeking in compensation. The last one I'm going to talk about today is the Trovan Scandal. You may or may not have heard of it. It's the most terrible one of everything I've shown you today. It took place in 1996 in Nigeria. Well, I'll just read it out. It's a lot easier that way. The first payments were made Thursday to Nigerian families who lost children during a 1996 trial of an experimental meningitis drug, and Pfizer, which had tested the drug, a new antibiotic, said it was pleased that the payments were finally being made under a settlement reached 2 years ago. 4 families received $175,000 each from a $35 million fund created under the settlement between Pfizer and Nigeria's northern Kano state, where the brief trial of the experimental drug Trovan took place. The 4 families had DNA evidence proving that they were related to children who died during the trial. In all, 11 children died in the trial, 5 after taking Trovan and 6 after taking an older antibiotic used for comparison in the clinical trial. Others suffered blindness, deafness and brain damage. Although Pfizer said only 200 children had been given Trovan, or the older antibiotic, 547 families sued. And there we have it. It's pretty damning, isn't it? I hope that people see this who are considering taking the vaccine, because even if they stop and do their own research and then still decide to take it, that's up to them. But at least they've been told and shown what this company has been up to over the last few decades. Thank you for watching.